Hello, Erlenbacher here, the podcast master at Invincible Entrepreneur, signing in from beautiful Oslo, Norway. Today on the show, we have the master of sales strategies, Grant Cardone. Did I say that correctly?
Oh, you said it perfect. Just with that
All
Norwegian
right.
accent you got going.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
sound like a Viking when you say it.
Yeah, I will speak proper Norwegian, English for you. Yeah, yeah. So, Grant is the author of four sales and business books and also a New York Times best-selling author of the book, If You're Not First, You're Lost. And I also like the title Sell or Be Sold. I love that. Really, really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, what we're trying to explore here on this show is it's the core strategies that you need to know, understand, and learn to become a successful entrepreneur. And sales and marketing is a key asset. All entrepreneurs need to know this skill set. So how did you decide to become a master at sales and marketing?
Well, because number one, the sales thing was because I had to. I mean, I didn't have a choice. I had to learn how to sell. I was 23 years old. I'd gotten out of college with an accounting degree, couldn't get a job that paid me enough. And I was looking around and, realized that anybody that wanted to control their income, if you study successful people, and it doesn't matter, you can go back 300 years. You can go back as far as you want to go. Anybody that's ever had an idea or wanted to be tapped into being in control of their financial wherewithal had to learn something about sales. How do I get a customer or a person to either fund or finance the project I'm doing? If you look at companies that fail, they fail not because they're underfunded. It's because they don't make enough sales fast enough at prices high enough in order to be viable. And so, at 23 years old, I'm like, I'm gonna learn everything I can about sales. I hated sales. I hated the idea of being a salesman. I didn't want to be a sales guy. I didn't want people calling me a salesman. Didn't want to have a sales card. And then I'm like, you know what? You just got it. You're gonna have to learn this thing. If you want to have money, if you want to own your own business one day, you have to learn how to sell. And then later, the more sophisticated ideas of marketing and branding became essential.
Yeah. So what was your? Did you do like door to door sales in the beginning, or what kind of things did you do?
I've sold furniture, clothes. I've sold some things that you I can't even talk about them, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I've sold myself. I tried to sell a teacher on giving me going from a C to a B. I wasn't successful doing that. But
Yeah.
I've sold automobiles. I've sold $1 products and $1 million products. The thing I learned most about selling was when I did do door to door. Though I did door
Yeah.
to door when I was 29 years old. It was me to a business. I don't know if they have that M to B, but it was me to business because I didn't really have a business yet. They call
Yeah.
it business to business. I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't have a business, dude. I was like, I had a hope. Maybe it was hope to business, and I was calling on multimillionaires in the United States, all across the United States, probably all 50, 49 of the 50 states, and I would show up. It was a cold call. They didn't know me. I didn't know them, and I did that for 3 years. It was the hardest, best education I've ever done in my life.
So was it more difficult to sell to rich people or?
Oh, it's very, very, selling to wealthy people is very difficult
Uh,
because the issue is getting their time.
yeah.
There's a saying that in Sell or Be Sold, I talk about in my first book, Sell or Be Sold, which by the way was last year's number one, was awarded the number one sales business book by Axiom Awards, which I'm very proud of. This is the
Yep.
first book I wrote,
Hmm.
and you know, wealthy people, if they're easy to get in front of, this is just something that a salesperson or a company should always like make it one of your core datums. If they're easy to get in front of, they're not going to buy from you. They
Right.
can't make a decision and or they don't have money. If they're very difficult to get in front of, the harder they are to get in front of, the easier they are to close. Always that is the case. So
Okay.
if they're extremely difficult to get in front of, they're going to be very easy to close.
So what's your number one tip on dealing with sales rejection? Because I know I've hired a lot of salespeople over the years, and some just quit really fast.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Look. Here's the deal: if you knew you could heal yourself immediately, What's that movie that's out right now? The
X-Men.
X-Men, man.
Yeah.
What's the cat's name though with the wolf hair? Yeah, if you Hugh Jackman as the Wolfman, is the Wolfman or Wereman? The Wolverine, dude. The Wolverine heals himself immediately. A
Yeah.
salesperson needs to understand you have the ability to heal yourself immediately from rejection. Immediately, not it doesn't have to take a day or a week or 3 weeks. You can heal yourself. So I don't want you to get used to rejection. I want you to heal yourself from it so that when you're rejected, when you're turned down, you actually say, you know what? I'm going to just change my mind about that. I'm going to heal myself. I'm not going to I'm the Wolverine of sales, baby. Okay? I am indestructible. I just got to go fill up my pipeline. Rejection really comes the issue is not really about somebody saying no to me. The real issue, if you understand the real issue of rejection, it is about you have too few people in your pipeline. Therefore, you're too dependent upon the one person in front of you. This is the experience of pain that you're feeling. Oh my God, that hurt so bad. He said no to me. Dude, your problem is not rejection. It is your pipeline is empty. Because if I got a full pipeline and somebody turns me down, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad they said no. Now I don't have to deliver anything to them. Now I don't have to do any paperwork. Now I don't have to go. See, now it's a different issue. Look, if your problems are bigger than your goals, you're always going to have problems, and you're going to always have disappointment. What you want is you want goals that are bigger than your problems. Your goals should be so big, and this is all in line with rejection. I talk about this in my last book, The 10X Rule. Your goals need to be so monster that the few disappointments you get in the meantime are nothing. I remember I was traveling to New York City to meet with a big media company. And my wife and I, we were up at like 4:30 in the morning. We were freaking excited, dude. We were jacked up. I mean, if my kid wakes me up at 4:30 in the morning, I'm gonna be like, "God, come on, man, get out of here. I need some more sleep." But I was so excited that morning. Why? Because my goals were so big. I didn't mind losing sleep. We get in the car. I'm racing to the airport. I can't wait to get there. I know I'm going to be early. Okay, I've flown 3 million miles. I'm not excited about going to airports, but this trip I was very excited about because of the people I was going to meet. I get a ticket on the way to the airport, and when the cop pulls me over, I drop my. Most of the time, you're all upset about it. I was like, man, good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. I'm so happy you're stopping me, slowing me down. He's like, dude, you've been using drugs right now? No, man. No, man, I'm happy, man. What you so happy about? I said, I'm happy because I got some big stuff to look forward to today. I'm so excited you're slowing me down. You get me on the right. Give me my damn ticket. And he's like, well, something wrong with you, man? But the point of that story is my problems weren't bigger than my goals. You know,
Right.
if rejection is bigger than your hope of what you can produce this month, is because you don't have enough in your pipeline.
Right. So what about? I mean, I still have lots of goals that I'm working towards, and one of the things that I do is that I try to find meaning in the little goals as well on the way. So like small milestones, to keep motivated, because sometimes making the first sale in your business, like the first ever sale, in one sense that is a goal. But you don't find that that gives meaning. It has to be a big goal, or
Well, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that. I know. You know, I don't kid myself. Okay, I'm not saying you kid yourself. I just don't let myself off the hook. I just don't do it. I know what I'm capable of, and I think most people, if they really get honest with themselves, I mean, if you look at the world's in trouble. And it's not the world that's in trouble. It's the people on this planet that are in trouble. And I'm just concerned that there's so many people slapping themselves on the back for nothing. If you look at how little people work. Now I know your book is Never Work Again, which I like that idea. I like the idea of never work again because I don't think I'm working.
right,
But sometimes I do have to just push myself to work, man. Sometimes it's just like, all right, I got to go do it. I got to do stuff I don't want to do. And I would like to believe, Jack Canfield talks about, find the things you love to do and then the rest will come. Dude, it hadn't been like that for me, Jack. Okay. Jack, this is how it's been for me. I've had to do the shit I don't want to do to finally get to the stuff I love. I mean, I've had to really like dig and push. I'm not a lucky guy. I haven't been lucky. I know I'm good looking, but I ain't that lucky. And and, and I got a full head of hair,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But 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 um but it hadn't been easy for me. So for me, come on in. For me, it's all been about like I'm trying to create $1 billion real estate portfolio right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I just did a deal. It was it's a big deal. It's $32 million. 20 years ago, I'd have been like, oh my god, dude, I just hit pay dirt.
Yeah.
See, it's kind of where you're at today. I'm like, okay, it's part of the journey, part of me getting where I want to go. But I'm not gonna like, I'm so short of where I know I'm capable. You know, and I think this is where people and companies do themselves a disservice. They pat themselves on the back for little small achievements. You can see people that take off. They only work 2 or 3 or 4 days of the week, and they don't even work the full time when they're there. And that they feel obligated to take off every holiday. It's a holiday here in America today. My whole staff's here.
Right.
I'm like, dude, we don't have to take off today. Most of us don't even know what today's being celebrated. We're going to work today because our core purpose is bigger than I'm gonna take a day off. So yeah, I want to reward myself for small things, and I think that's important. But I think it needs to be quick, it needs to be fast, and it doesn't have to be a whole day.
Right. So how do you stay focused on those big goals? Like every day, how do you stay focused on them? What do you have any routines or any
Yeah,
any habits that
you do a good interview, dude. I like you. I like the way you think, bro. You deep.
I'm doing my best?
You deep, baby. You deep, and you real. You got my face. You got my Norway face.
Alrighty.
Okay, so look, this is what I do. I write my goals down every morning and every night.
Oh, you do?
Every morning,
Okay.
every night.
Yeah.
Okay, I write them down on a piece of paper with a pen.
Hmm.
And I think I know we're a technology age, and I'm extremely, I embrace technology. I love technology. I love apps. I love social media. But let me tell you something. When I'm writing my goals down, can I use that pen? When I'm writing my goals down, okay, there is nothing like ink coming out of a little utensil, which by itself is a pretty interesting piece of technology. You got to admit the fact that this thing isn't spraying ink all over me right now.
Yeah.
And when I write down, I own 1 billion in real estate. Okay, see, I got to tell you something, man. It gets me kind of excited right there. Okay, it's good.
Yep.
Oh, it's good. And then when I write down, I am worth, you know, uh, $250 million in cash. Whatever your goal is. I've sold. My books have sold over 1 million copies. See, those things just become important to me. And what I write down this morning, tonight, maybe I write it down again. We have this. I use a. It's not in front of me right now, but a journal. It's a journal schedule. It's called a 10X planner.
Right.
And basically, it's there to build my battle plan each day, focus on my goals, not my work. Okay, there's an old saying, "Go to work to work." No, I go to work to prosper, dude. I want to go to work to hit pay dirt. I want to go to work every day I wake up and say, "Today's the day." Where I make all my dreams come true. I know that's not true. It's not going to happen. There's no one day where you're going to make all your dreams come true. Just not real. Because when you achieve these that you've written down, you're just going to start writing down new ones. It's like you just end up on another part of your journey. So what I do, long answer to your short question, is I write my goals down in the morning. I write them down again at night, and there's one other time when I write my goals down.
Before
And
Christmas. Is that before Christmas or?
no, man, no. I am Santa Claus.
You're Santa
Santa don't
Claus.
write to himself. So the other time that I write my goals down, okay, which is probably more important than the other two, is anytime I'm disappointed. Anytime I failed or I'm disappointed, all I do is I get my attention off the disappointment, off the failure, and on to the back to where I'm going. I trip. I'm tripping, man. I'm tripping.
So a lot of people don't know what their goals are. You ask them what's your goal, and they go, I don't
Yeah.
know. They think they want a Ferrari. They think they want this. They think they want that, but they don't really, really, really want it. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not deep enough to drive them forwards. And
Yeah.
so, how did you find out about your goals?
Well, it's interesting. I totally agree with what you're saying there. I think a lot of people have adopted goals. I think they have adopted ideas about what they want and never really taken the time to know what they want themselves. When I was 16 years old, my dad died when I was 10 years old. And when I was 16, I told my mom, we grew up middle class. I don't know what middle class is in Norway. Probably the same as it is in the U.S.
Everybody's middle class in Norway.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody but a handful of people,
Right.
right?
The 5%. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And we hate them people.
No, I like them.
I hate them. They did so good. They remind me of what I didn't do and could have. Oh yeah, that'd be a good tweet right there. Though. So here I am, 16 years old. I was brought up middle class. Everything, and when I say middle class, I don't mean it's a good thing. I mean it's a scary thing. I mean every meal comes with a dissertation on how people are starving on planet Earth and how I should eat every morsel of food on my plate, and I should be grateful for this meal because people are starving. And there was a whole concept of scarcity and never enough. Well, after 6 years of that with my mom, because my mom was terrified. She had this much money. My dad died. The income had stopped. The life insurance was gone. She had this much paper to figure out how to run the rest of our lives and get three boys through school. And so everything was scarcity. Everything was a shortage, right? So at 16 years old, I looked at my mom. I said, I will never. I was furious, man. I was like blowing up, and she got upset with me because it seemed like I was ungrateful teenager, right? I said, I will never. When I grow up, I remember saying, when I grow up, I'll never grow up like this. And she's like, what do you mean? You got a car? We had a little used Mustang. She's like, you got a roof over your head, you got clothes on your back, you should be grateful. I said, I will never, ever grow up like this.
Yeah.
And she's like, what does that mean? I said, I want to be rich. One day I want to be rich. I want to not worry about money, which, even when you're rich, you still worry about money, to be honest with you. But thank you, Lisa, part of the podcast. And, um, and then I didn't find out for another 19 years because I wanted to be a millionaire. When I was 16, I realized I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a rich guy. I want to have a lot of money. I found out when I was 35 years old, 25 years after my father died. I've never told this story before, that my dad wanted to be a millionaire.
Uh-huh.
And I never knew that because he died when I was 10, right? But my dad had that thing. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. So when I found that out when I was 35, I'm like, I want to be a millionaire because he wanted to be a millionaire. Did I just adopt this idea?
But you want to be a billionaire though. You want to be a billionaire, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I want $1 billion in real estate.
Right. Right.
That wouldn't necessarily make me a billionaire, right? Because I might have some debt on that deal. But the point is, and hey, I would like to be a billionaire. I look around, I'm like, look at some of these other guys that are billionaires.
Yeah.
Look at Donald Trump. I mean, he ain't the freaking sharpest knife in the damn pantry.
Probably good at sales though.
Yeah, but he's good at marketing and branding himself.
Yeah.
He's good at restructuring debt. But I'm just saying, I mean, come on, he's not any smarter than me and you. He definitely hadn't worked any harder than me and you. So, and he's a Billy killer. So, I think what drives me. I think your question is what was the question again?
A lot of people have dreams and goals, but they don't know where they come from. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's why it's really important for people to identify what is it they want. Because once I realized that I had adopted my dad's goals of $1 million, I changed my goals. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be a millionaire. I want hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay. I want to be in great physical shape. My dad wasn't in great physical shape. My dad was overweight. Okay. He was probably 20 pounds overweight when he died. He had heart problems. He didn't have a lot of other activities in his life. I'm like, I don't want that. I want to be free. I want to have time off. I never want to work again. I want to work. Right? I want to read. I want to be in podcasts. I want to be famous. I want people to know me. I want people in Norway to reach out to me, in China, in Taiwan, in Russia. I want everybody to know me. See, I started building on what my goals were because all I did was adopt other people's. The Ferrari and time off and trips. Those aren't my deals. I don't care about a Ferrari. Okay, I know guys that want Ferraris and big watches. I love watches. Okay, Ferraris. I don't know what one somebody would have one for except to say, hey, you know.
Yeah.
By the way, you can't ride in it because I ain't got any room for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about the 10x rule. What's the core concept of that book?
Well, it's right in line with what you're talking about right now. The 10x rule basically is take whatever goal you have, whatever target you have in your life. I don't care what it is. That you want to be a best-selling author and you want to sell 1 million books. then I'm gonna say no. Let's change the target to 10 times that. Let's go for 10 million books. Maybe you want to be a billionaire. Let's change it to 10 billion. Look, they're both ridiculous, right? These targets, any goal actually is ridiculous. Okay, I want to go mow my lawn today. All right,
Right.
good. Well, that's a ridiculous goal. I mean, it's just freaking stupid. Okay, it's crazy. If you told a caveman 200 years ago, we're gonna mow the lawn, he'd be like, "Oh my god, that's freaking ridiculous." He's like, "I'm gonna become a rapper instead." You know what I'm saying? I mean, every goal is ridiculous. That's what you need to understand. So if you're going to have a ridiculous goal, and by the way, if it's not ridiculous, it's not a goal. It's the to do.
Right.
It's something you got to do. I got to go pick the groceries up. That ain't a goal, dude. That's feeding yourself. Okay. So look, I want to take somebody's goals. Like I'm going to Mexico June 22nd to 27th. You should come visit with us, man.
Yeah.
And we're gonna spend 5 days just talking about 10x targets,
Hmm.
10 goals that are 10 times bigger than what you have presently.
Hmm.
And then we're going to build an action plan for those 10x goals. And the concept of the 10x rule basically is that people are coming up short either way. And that they're coming up short and they're losing steam. Most people lose excitement and steam, if you will, for their goals because their goals are too small. Your goals are too reasonable. They're too small. They're tiny. They're not exciting. And people even say, "Oh, don't set goals too big.
Hmm.
Don't want to disappoint yourself." You do want to get disappointed. You just want it to be about something big, not something little.
Yeah,
So,
because
so
you need that resistance to kind of drive
yeah,
you forwards, right?
exactly. And then you start playing in the big leagues, man. You know, if I get a 10-foot shark coming after me, I got different motivation than if I got a little goldfish threatening me. And most people are being threatened by goldfish right now. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
you're worried about the government. You know why you're worried about the government? You're worried about the government because you're dependent upon the government. So I don't worry like the when I had this 10x shift. I was 51 years old actually. Okay, and the
Yeah.
economy had busted here in the United States, and I realized, oh, I was dependent upon the economy. I was always wishing for a good economy, and the 10x rule was like, oh no, never depend on another economy ever again. Create your own economy. That's the 10x think.
Hmm.
Mm,
Fantastic.
come
Fantastic.
on, man, come on.
Yeah.
I got excited. I got excited
So,
again. You
so,
get me excited. We
so,
got to spend more time together,
so
man.
you basically think we're living in a world where babies wear protection and helmets, and
Yeah,
it's
I
become
think
too soft,
I think we live in a land of fours.
right?
We live on a planet where fours get paid
Hmm.
with crumbs, and crumbs are acceptable. And
Yeah.
and, and I know my presentation here gets shifted to money quite a bit, but I mean I don't know how else to measure things. You know, okay, you want me to talk about bread? You want me to talk about cars? People have things. You got to have things to kind of get around on this planet.
Mm.
And so unfortunately, you know, it gets down to do you have enough money to pay for the stuff you want? That's what comes down to. And this planet is rewarding fours. Okay, it's rewarding four activity on a scale from 1 to 10. You operate as a four, you get paid, you get to keep your job, you might get to keep your house. Your kids will hate your guts by the time you're 15. They'll like you again when they're 25 because they've now become fours, and they're miserable about being a four. So they're like, hey, I'm gonna go back to mom and dad. They're fours too, so we'll all be happy fours together. But you know what? When he was 15, he saw the truth. That
Mm.
that 15-year-old is not belligerent. The 15-year-old can actually see that his parents have freaking settled. That his
Right.
parents that his parents are settling for less than their potential, and that's why he's so angry. I don't think he's going through some teenage testosterone or he's got some problem, dude. Maybe the 15-year-old actually knows what's going on here. You know that hey, wait a minute, what? Who signed up for this freaking average thing? And
Mm.
that's we live on a planet where average is rewarded with crumbs, and the only people that win are the people that operate in the upper bands, up around the nines and the tens. And whether being a 10 and puts you in the top 5% or the 1%ers or whatever you want to call them, those people operate on a basic set of principles of being connected to the right people,
Mm.
in the right flows, okay, in the right kind of vehicles, okay, not cars now. I'm talking about vehicles, mechanisms.
Hmm. Hmm.
Their think is enormous. Their think is never about scarcity. Okay, it's about control, not working. just what you say, never work again. I want to control my destiny. And that's what these people think like, and that's how they think. And that's why they get rewarded in scales that appear to be almost unfair to the rest of the planet.
Yeah.
Because look, it is unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair that anybody would operate at a four
Right.
when you have the potential of 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's lots of research done on this, but we can lift a lot more weight than we think we can. We're only exerting about 10% of our potential,
Right.
I think. So what do you do? I mean, because business is a marathon, not a sprint. So
Yeah.
so how do you like on Sundays? Do you chill on Sundays, or do you work hard all the time, or how do you how do you manage that? Because you see, you have a lot of energy, and how do you rest and refuel? Do you have good
Yeah.
hobbies?
Yeah. I spent a couple hours in a cabana yesterday on the beach in Miami Beach, and
Yeah, yeah.
almost blew my brains out at 1:45. so, 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 no, yeah, dude, I take time. I mean, do I take time out? Yeah, I take time out. I love to work. Okay, I love what I'm doing. If you don't love what you're doing, if you don't love your grind, this is what I would tell anybody. If you don't love your grind, and there's days when I hate it. There's days when I've lost my swag and I've lost my enthusiasm. And there's days when I'm like, I feel like I'm being pushed down or pushed back or it's impossible. I mean, still today. And I don't know if that's ever going to go. I don't think it's going to ever go away. I know guys that are, why is that guy still doing his deal?
Mm,
If you don't love your grind, this is what I would tell you. Before you quit your job because you don't love your grind, get great at it and then quit.
right.
Because I was 30 years old and I almost quit the field that I'm in right now of helping people. Okay, I almost quit when I was 30 years old because the grind was so hard. It was unbelievable. 3 weeks I was out in the market. 3 weeks I was in Miami, Florida, actually selling what I was doing at that time. I was making myself known. I collected less money than my phone bill. Okay.
Yeah.
And I went back. I had a girlfriend in Houston at the time. I went back. I said, I don't think I can go back out there. It's just too hard, dude. The grind's killing me. It's killing me. And I was praying about it. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, I heard this voice say to me, if you believe in hearing voices, I heard a voice. And the voice said, get great at it before you quit it.
Yeah.
And then quit.
Mm,
And I'm like, okay, I got to go get my freaking head on. I got to go get my grind on. I got to go get great at my grind. And by the time I got great at it, I didn't want to quit it, man. I just wanted to blow it up. I wanted to do something big with it. So I think I would just give people the one recommendation is look, if you hate what you do, it might not be the job.
mm,
People hate, if you're not good at it, you're going to hate it.
yeah.
If you're the best at it, it don't matter what it is, dude. If you're the best at it, you're going to love it.
Right.
And you'll probably be rewarded for it too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one thing that comes to mind is also one thing that I mentioned in my book is Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah. On his deathbed, he was dying, had his family around him, and he said, I blew it, and he blew it because he spent all his time working, and he had all the money in the world, but he hadn't spent enough time with his family. That's why I ask
Yeah.
about your other activities, because what I have to do is I have to stop working. I have to say, okay, I'm not going to work because I love working. I get up, I work. That's what I do. But it got a bit out of hand a few years ago, and that's why I wrote the book Never Work Again, and
Yeah.
and so I have to allocate time to do other stuff. Do
No,
you do
agree
that
with
or?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like what I do is in the 10x rule, I write about look, a 10xer is not a guy that just has it in one area. You'd have it in every area. I mean, this book, I wrote this book for me. I didn't write it for other people. It just so
Yeah.
happens a lot of other people have gotten a lot out of it. My relationship with my wife is 10 times better than it was. My time with my kids, like I get up in the morning. A 10x guy is not going to have one area of his life under control. He's going to be like, dude, I want it all. I'm a greedy individual. Okay. I'm telling everybody right now, I'm greedy. I want it all. I want it all I want to be in good physical shape. I want to be in good financial shape. I want to be in the best spiritual shape of my life. I want to have great time with my kids. I do not want to die like Sam Walton saying I blew it.
Mm,
I'm not going to do it, dude. I don't need $1 billion and not have time with my kids. You should be able to figure out how to do both of them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason Sammy Boy could have figured out how to do it all.
Mm.
So I don't know what he didn't figure out. I mean, he figured out the money thing pretty good. He figured out how to avoid paying any taxes on his stuff. I don't know if you know that part of the story, but why he didn't figure out how to handle his kids and be with his family, I don't know. It seems like he set his kids up pretty good. I think that's different than being a good father. I know this: if I died today, there is nobody that's a better father than I am.
Mm.
Okay. On a scale from 0 to 10, on a scale as a husband, I'm probably a 9.2. Could I be better? Yeah, yeah. I could have had sex with my wife last night and didn't. I had that thought. I had that moment where I'm like, I'm gonna hit this, but I didn't. You know, but could I be a better friend? Absolutely, I could have more friends. But I don't let people down.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would just tell people, do not seek balance.
Mm.
Okay, balance is another activity. Be great at everything. You have the time. Everybody has the time. Anybody that says, even the single mother that's got 2 kids and a job, has time.
Mm.
I mean, otherwise, Sugar Crush wouldn't be having so many downloads.
You play Sugar Crusher, don't you?
Oh yeah, sure I did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, sell or be sold. Tell me about the core concept there.
Dude, you're either doing the selling. I mean, every person on this planet, you're either doing the selling or you're being sold something.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. Okay. End of story. This book was not written for salespeople. It was written for anybody that is tired of not getting their way at life. If you're getting crumbs, if you're getting less than you deserve, if you don't know how to get a promotion, if if you're doing a startup and you don't know how to, and you're still in startup mode after 3 years, okay, you're being sold.
Right.
So the deal is sell or be sold. Where you live has got something to do with how you're being sold. Do you know most people don't live more than 10 miles from their parents? Why? Because
Mm.
they were sold that that's where they should live. Most
Mm.
people adopt the same religion that they were brought up in. Why? Because that's what they were taught. Most people never speak a second language. Why? Because that's what they were taught. So most people are just sold. You're sold on what you're sold on. You make 50 grand a year because that's what your whole family's made forever. And so it's this idea that I just got to keep adopting these ideas rather than, hey, you know what? I want to go out and do something different. Sell or be sold. You're either doing the selling. In every exchange, you're either doing the selling or you're being sold something.
Right.
That's why, like sometimes people will say to me, like you said earlier, you're like, man, you got a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy.
Mm.
No, not really. I mean, I'm just sold.
Right.
I'm just completely convinced. A sale takes place not because somebody tricked somebody or asked the right questions. A sale takes place when one individual has more conviction than another. That's when a sale takes place. I become convinced because Lisa actually believes and has the data that supports it that causes me to give up my conviction, my belief in something, and then adopt her belief. And I'm like, oh wow, you know what? I see that viewpoint. Now that takes a lot of skill to be able to tactfully get somebody off of something they agree with and shift. But when they do, that's when a sale takes place.
Right. So, what would you say are the top 3 things that someone should know in order to be successful in sales?
Well, the first thing I would tell people is that look, you got to get off this idea that some people are salespeople and some people aren't.
Mm.
Okay, Robert, he's on the board today, and he works in the media room, and he's great at creating video. But see, Robert needs to understand that he too is involved in sales. Everybody's involved in sales. Sales is not a department or something someone else does any more than somebody else picks up the garbage at my house. I'm the king at my house. I'm also the guy that takes out the garbage. Okay,
Mm.
somebody got to move the garbage. Okay, I'm also the cook. I gotta cook sometimes. Sometimes I'm the milk pourer. I gotta pour the milk. Okay, I actually make myself coffee. I'm the barista at my house too. See, I have all these. I'm the father. I'm the diaper changer. Donald Trump won't change diapers, but I will. Okay, so I think the point is, look, somebody's got to sell, man.
Yeah.
Who's gonna? I hear people talk about past lives. I'm like,
Mm.
well, what were you? Oh, I was Alexander the Great. I'm like, dude, who carried the urine? I mean, come on. When is somebody going to say, I had a past life? I was the urine boy. Why does everybody have to be the king, man? Somebody has to do the selling. Somebody has to do the marketing. This is why companies fail. In America, for instance, there's 28 million companies in America, 28 million small businesses in America. 21 million of the 28 have no employees.
Right.
None, zero. Why? They have no sales department. Look, if you don't have any employees, you ain't got a sales department, dude, which means you ain't got no revenue, man. And if you don't have any revenue, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you're going to go. So look, you got to have a sales department. You got to have sales. So the first thing is, look, everybody's involved in sales. The second thing is, it is a skill that you learn. It's not a personality. Nobody's born a salesman. I was born a baby just like you. Me and Robert and Lisa all born on the same day. We're all ugly. Okay, we're all little babies, wrinkled up. Nobody's asking for an order. Nobody's born with pins and polyester suits and white shoes, and we're walking out, hey, buy my product. Nobody does that, dude. Okay, number three thing I tell people, look, no matter how good naturally you are at selling, okay, or maybe you're an extrovert and not you're introverted or whatever the case is, look, it doesn't matter. Introvert, extrovert doesn't matter. Okay, I know introverts that are better salespeople than most extroverts because they know how to actually take interest in people. You have to learn this thing. You have to, even once you learn what selling is and you're embracing it, then you got to become a master at it because the masters control their incomes. They control revenue. And they become vital, not just to companies, but industries. They're always wanted, always needed, and always valuable to any economy.
Yeah, so oftentimes salespeople earn more than the CEOs, right? The top salespeople.
Totally.
Yeah.
The old joke is, they taught me into going into management, and the guy's like, I shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. I left sales for management.
So how to get started? What do you recommend? Just get out there and do it. What's the how do you get some leverage in learning sales? Buy your book, of course.
Well, Sell or Be Sold is I guarantee you 100 years from now, long after I'm dead, people will be buying that book. Okay, it's a great book, or you'll be downloading it on an MP3, we sell more downloads of that book on iTunes than we sell hardback books today, but however you get it, I read the book, actually, I narrate it at iTunes, and it's awesome. It's like 13 hours of content, which the book is about 6 hours, 6.5 hours of content.
Right.
When I started reading the book, I was recording the book, and I was like, oh man, I forgot this and I forgot that. I started going off and telling stories, so it's like double the material, but it's different. I read books. I like to read books, and I like to read just for disagreement.
Right.
Even a disagreement is a learning experience.
Yeah.
I get to look at something and say, I don't agree with that. Well, for me to say I don't agree with something on a page, right? Like there's a chapter in here called the price myth. Any sales organization that doesn't have this one chapter, okay, called the price myth, it's chapter 6. It says it's almost never priced. In fact, if I was to write this again, I would say it's never priced. Nobody buys price. You can't buy a price and you can't sell a price. It's impossible. That's what most companies do. So I think the first thing people would need to do, back to your question, is you got to decide, dude, I got to learn how to sell. Colleges don't teach it. Harvard, MIT, nobody teaches people how to sell something. And also, none of the colleges teach people how to get rich. I'm writing an article this week, how to get rich, how to become a millionaire. You know why? Because Harvard don't teach it. Can you imagine how many people would sign up for that class? How to become a millionaire. Teach me, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Teach me how to sell anything to anybody, even if I'm not a salesperson. I don't know how to talk to anybody. Teach me. So I think the first step is, look, you got to understand you're only going to get leftovers. If that's the hustle you got, here's how your story goes. I can just fast forward. I'm going to tell you how the life goes down. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to your audience, but because you're obviously a hustler. If you're not willing to get great at your grind, it goes like this. You end up with leftovers. Okay? A majority of your life will be spent in fear, constant worry, and financial insecurity. Not knowing, hey, can I take care of my kids? Can I take care of my spouse? Can I take care of myself? Can I take care of my parents if they call me? Because your parents didn't figure out the deal. They're running on fumes. Everybody's on an empty tank. Everybody's not, what if something happened? What if there's inflation? If there's inflation, everybody's screwed, okay? It's like they're keeping inflation out of the freaking mathematics right now because it would screw almost every country on this planet. So I would just tell people, look, you got to get your head right about what's necessary so that you get in that top 5%. The goal should be to get out of the middle, out of the average, get to the very top of the top. Don't worry about everybody just like, oh, well, what if everybody goes to the top? Dude, if everybody goes to the top, planet Earth would be financially in much better shape.
Yes.
If 7 billion people said, I'm going to the top,
Yeah.
okay, then it would be good for everybody. Why? Because it would produce GDP would go up worldwide. It
Mm.
would be good for everybody. Everybody would become more creative. There would be prosperity and flourishing everywhere. There would be abundance of money and foods. Maybe there'd be so much money that money wouldn't even be valuable anymore because of production, not because they print paper. So I would just tell everybody, man, get your hustle on, get your freaking head right, okay? No government is ever going to take care of you, not the Norwegian government, the US government, the Chinese government. They're thieves. Everybody knows they steal. They don't know what they're doing, so they just take for themselves. And learn everything you can about selling, marketing, branding. Surround yourself with great people. You know, every successful entrepreneur says that. I got great people around.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with the best people, not just people you work with, but also who are you thinking with? Who are you hanging with? Who do you roll with? Who do you go to parties with? Who do you spend your weekends with?
Mm.
Anyway, that's my Church of Cardone, man.
I love that. Very good. Very good. Because you're defined by the 4 or 5 people you spend the most time with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So have you eliminated a lot of your friends from
Yeah.
past?
That's a great question, dude. I have. It's a, this is what people say. They say, hey, surround. You're defined by the 4 or 5 people that are around you, closest to you,
Mm.
dude. If you're not getting rid of friends, if you're not getting rid of people in your life, then you're not making changes.
Right.
It's impossible. You have to make some changes. You have to get rid of people. Otherwise, you're not changing.
Mm.
And it doesn't mean I eliminate them. It just means, hey, you know what? I'm playing a different game now, but I used to play ping pong. I used to play ding dong.
Yep.
I'm not playing that game anymore. Now I'm playing some other game. I'm playing a different game. So you know what? No, it's nothing personal. You're just moving. You're moving. You're moving, and they're not. Doesn't mean you drag them with you. You know, go in your closet. Look at all the clothes that you have. They're just leftovers.
Mm.
People get used to keeping things. I'm like, dude, when's the last time you used it? I told my wife the other day. I said, get somebody to go through my closet and get rid of everything I haven't used in the last 3 months.
Right.
What is that? Maybe if you hadn't seen it on me in the last 90 days, tell them to give it away. Okay, give
Mm.
it away. Okay, stuff in the house. Look. Just go home tonight and look at all the stuff people are hanging on to that you don't need anymore. And what that indicates is, why would I get rid of that? Because you're not using it. Okay, get rid of stuff so you can roll, so you can be nimble, so you can be free, so you're not stuck in the past,
Mm.
so you can create a future. My attention is not on what I've done. Success is not about what somebody's done. It's about what they're gonna do next. When you hear people talk about their successes, it doesn't matter who they are, the Steve Jobs, the Bransons, the whoever, right? They're always looking forward because they're interested in this not as a financial reward, but as a spiritual reward.
Right.
Success is an obligation, man. It is a duty. Success is a spiritual thing. Okay, it makes somebody feel, more like their potential. So for me, success is not about more money or a bigger car or a bigger house. It's like, you know what? I'm fulfilling not my destiny, but my potential.
So
And
it's a reflection of the value you're adding to the world.
yeah, totally. What can I
Yeah.
do? How can I change things? Can I help out my church? Can I help out my community? Can I help out with politics?
Mm.
Can I make a difference? And that's when a guy's above the grind. You're above the grind at that point. Now you're into the passion of it that everybody talks about, that you probably talk about in Never Work Again. By the way,
Absolutely.
send me a copy, dude.
I will do. I will
I'm gonna
do.
eat that book. I'm gonna eat that book in like 30 minutes.
The whole team's going to get a book.
Okay, beautiful.
But they might never work again. So
Yeah, they
it's
will. They'll be hitting it hard. If it's a good book, they'll be freaking tripping.
yeah. One of the things that I talk about in my book is that entrepreneurs are altruistic. So they get up in the morning to actually serve other people. And that's a big part of what they do. That's what drives them forward, makes them excited, and adding that value to the world. Um,
I agree agree with that, but I also would just say that while that person's being altruistic, it doesn't mean you can't get you know handled in the process. Okay, when I said earlier that I'm greedy, I think it's very important that people start taking care of themselves.
Mm.
I think our culture has somehow made it wrong for people to say, I want to do this for me and I want more and I want more clothes or I want this. If you watch a baby, I didn't know this until, I mean, I kind of knew this, but really, really saw it when I had kids. And I remember my first kid, that Sabrina, she's 5 years old today, but I remember when she was born and the next day she was hungry. And dude, when she got hungry, she wasn't interested in anybody else or anything else. Okay, it was like feed me now,
Mm.
right now, or I'm gonna tear this house apart. Okay, and she's like 1 day old, right? And I'm like, wow, that is powerful.
Yeah.
You know, if more people operated like that every day, give me mine. Now you got to figure out how to do that with finesse.
Mm.
But the underlying thing is give me mine does not mean I don't want to help people. So when the guy, I never trust the seminar leader. I'm just here to help everyone. Dude, come on, keep it real, bro. Keep it real. Give me the real goods here, okay? What's wrong with saying, hey, I'm going to help a bunch of people, and in the process, I'm going to create so much abundance for so many people that there's going to be plenty of surplus to take care of me.
Mm.
So I'm a straight shooting guy, no BS. I'll probably never be able to run for politics because of it, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I saw you were going to run for Congress, right?
But I know they're going to destroy me for saying the truth. Like, I want to be rich. Okay, I want
Yeah.
some freaking bank. I want paper. I want to be able to take care of my family. I never want to worry about money. I want to be able to. I want to be able to have a legal attack on me and lose $8 or $10 million. That not even a legal attack that was legitimate. Survive it and go on and prosper. That's how much abundance I want. I know that's available on this planet. Okay,
Mm. Mm.
so you look at oil companies, how much money they make. You look at the drug companies, the criminals that these they spend 20 billion a year. They're making close to trillions of dollars. Okay, I'm like, how much money's on this planet? Okay, so I can help people. I can help people, and really have that and still say, hey, you know what? I'd like to have some nice things to go with the help that I'm doing. I'd like to have some freedom because that's really what money is. Money's really just a freedom. It's not digits in a bank. You don't sleep with money. It's a
Mm.
freedom to say, hey, I'm going to go invest in this project, or I'm going to go take this on, or I'm going to do a TV show, or I'm going to go, run down this road and it's not going to work out very well, but I'm not going to die because of it.
Right. So I mean, you're incredibly enthusiastic and you got lots of energy. How do you maintain that? Is it the goals? Is that the goals that creates that kind of energy in you?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where my energy. I create energy. I take responsibility for my energy.
Yeah.
So I know one thing that really helps with my energy is staying engaged. Like the more I do, the more I can do. Okay,
Mm.
we say yes to almost everything.
Right.
So when you called up and said, "Hey, we want to interview Grant," they're like, "Yeah, okay, we'll do it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we found out who you were. Come, you bring it in. And then we found out who you were. I'm like, "Oh yeah, we really want to do this."
Well, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, kind sir.
Yeah. The more I say yes to, I've never. There's very few things that I have agreed to do that I regret later.
Mm.
Okay, like I might regret the trip. Oh man, how did we agree to do this thing? Okay, I can't believe I'm doing another one. Oh my god! But you know what? By the time it's over, I'm like, I'm glad I did that deal. 99.9% of the time,
Yeah.
yes was the right answer for me.
Mm.
And as long as I'm being ethical, as long as I'm being ethical, as long as I'm doing something good for the greatest number of people, then most of the time I don't regret it. And that's how I keep energy. The more energy I use, the more energy I have somehow. It's not about, energy is not like gasoline. Like the more you use, the
Mm.
less you have.
Mm.
Okay. The energy, the human energy, the potential of the human being is the more energy I use, somehow I create more energy. I'm not tapping into some supply that's only got 16 gallons, or liters or whatever you measure over there, probably liters, right? So I'm not tapping out. The more I use, like the whole burnout concept.
Yep.
People walk around, I don't want to burn out. Dude, you're not gonna burn out. You don't have a purpose.
Right.
You don't even have a candle lit.
Mm.
No wonder you're burnt out. No wonder you're tired because you're all purpose. As long as I'm on purpose and doing something that helps more people than just myself, I just don't run out of energy. I get tired, my body get tired, but I can only spend so much time in bed.
Yeah. So what excites you in the next couple of months? What are you working on? Except going for Congress, of course.
Yeah. I don't know if that'd be a good idea or not. Let's see. I'd have to pull my whole YouTube channel down if I ran for Congress. My entire YouTube channel will have to come down. There's about 1,300 videos down there that at least 1,100 would offend the normal human being.
Okay.
But because basically, look, I'm trying to inspire people not to be normal. So if you're normal, if you're an average person, you'll hate me. I mean, at the end of the interview, I hate Grant Cardone. I'm gonna follow him on Twitter at Grant Cardone, but I hate him so much. um, let's see, what am I doing the next couple months? I don't know. I'm going to Mexico, spending 5 days down there doing a 10x rule. We figured out how to do a vacation and work all at the same time, so I never work again.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
I hear you.
Have tacos and margaritas and tequilas and figure out how to take my life to another level. We're working on the real estate portfolio every day, and I'm working on 2 books right now. One's called Obsessed, book called Obsessed that I'm working on. I'm working on a TV show called Whatever It Takes. We got a lot of stuff going on, man. I'm coming to Norway. I want to come to Norway.
Yeah. Come speak at Elevate.
Yeah.
That would be the right arena for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. How many people will be
Elevate people's lives. Probably 1,000 people, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, where can we get more information about you? How can we, if you want to do one of your courses, how do we?
Check out, the best thing people could do is go to grantcardonesuccess.com.
Mhm.
Grantcardonesuccess.com. It's a newsletter that I send out every week. It's free. It costs nothing.
Uh-huh.
We don't sell your name. You put your first name, last name, your email address in. I'm gonna send you an email.
Mhm.
Like this week, the tip is going to be 10 tips to becoming a millionaire. Guarantee you those 10 tips. If you just do those 10 things, you'll become a millionaire no matter what. It's impossible not to. You can also follow me on Twitter at Grant Cardone. My YouTube channel's got at Grant Cardone. I'm just giving you free stuff right now. Grant Cardone's my YouTube channel. 1,300 videos sitting there. 1,100, 1,300, 1,400. I don't know. Bunch of. I mean, 1,300, 1,328. There's a sales university for somebody that's interested in becoming a salesperson or a sales professional or learning how to take your company to the next level of sales. We have a product called CardoneUniversity.com.
Mhm.
CardoneUniversity.com. It's basically 3-minute videos of every sales situation, sales problem, sales struggle, sales obstacle, sales challenge that you will ever meet in your life. And I deliver in full multimedia with tests and a place for you to store notes.
And that's free as well, or?
No, that's not free.
No, it's not free.
That's
Okay.
not free. Well,
Yeah.
it's probably free, but the investment that it costs you will make you money. It's better than
Right.
free.
Yes.
It's probably
Yes.
the only one that's going to make you money of everything I told you so far.
Mhm.
The rest are entertaining.
Yeah.
The Twitter's entertaining and it's good and it keep you reminded, it keep your head on right. But you're not gonna. It's not organized in a way. My YouTube channel. I mean, unbelievable video there. It'll help you for a second, but it's not gonna change your life because
Right.
it's not organized in a way to actually create a skill.
Mm.
The skill set transfer is on Cardone University, where we actually put you on video content, for lack of a better word, video content laid out in a specific order that gives an individual an education, a sales education on how to sell any product in any economy to any person, anytime. And even if you don't make the sale, it's going to show you exactly how to go back and pick that sale up later.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show. Check out those links. They'll also be underneath the podcast transcript. It's been truly inspirational. I feel really fired up just by hanging with you now for 53 minutes. And thank you so much. Have a great day.